The left gave themselves a platform to defund the police and has become the party of lawlessness. Why is the crime problem so severe, and what is Project 21 doing about it?
Well, when this experiment that they started, which we've already seen happen in the late 1960s and the 1970s and saw how bad it was, when this experiment in the 21st century happened, it starts with this concept that it's not actually the criminal who is the problem. It's actually society who's to blame. A lot of Americans don't realize that New York City in the late 1960s and 1970s became one of the most dangerous large cities on the planet. We've taken for granted that we should have safety and we could take our family and that sort of thing precisely because of the efforts undertaken to reverse the mistaken theory that somehow it's the criminal that isn't really aware or responsible. We turned the tables and we said, we're going to hold criminals accountable. Rudy Giuliani worked aggressively to make that possible, and not only did that happen, you saw the same thing happen in Los Angeles, you saw the same thing happen in Chicago, you saw the same thing happen in Houston. All of the large cities in America reversed course. Progressives are asking us to now try it again. The last time we did it, well, it didn't work, we must not have had our heart in it. Let's try it again. Here's what's going to happen and is already occurring. Black Americans, working class people, are suffering the most. They're the victims. If you're rich, if you're powerful, you have your own security. You get to be separated away. What these people have planned is for the least among us to end up being the victims. So we're asking with our blueprint that there be accountability. We want to bring back mandatory minimums, that absolutely if you do the crime, you are going to do the time. We believe that prosecutors at the federal level need to coordinate with the local governments to target those kinds of areas where we're seeing these spikes. And absolutely, we need to reverse the condemnation of our law enforcement. Merely because there are a couple of people that are bad eggs doesn't mean that all of law enforcement needs to be thrown out the window. Too many mothers, grandmothers, too many families are paying the price because law enforcement is afraid to stand up and do what the great job that we've asked them to do.
Right. Derek, what do you think about the rising crime that's occurring and how it's affecting the black community?
I think it's very unfortunate. And, you know, one of the things, you know, people talk about the police, how bad the police is. And as Horace just alluded to, I did an op-ed piece a couple of years ago, and there's over 1 million law enforcement agents in this country. All of them can't possibly be bad. Over 1 million. My sister is police, and she has 3 black boys she has to raise. So just imagine that narrative. But the thing about it is, when you start talking about this lawlessness and what's going on, from the carjackings, out of control, the looting, and it didn't get a response from these liberals until it impacted their communities.
That's right.
Because at first it was okay when it was happening in the hood and in the black communities, but now that it's reached out into the suburbs, and you got this congresswoman who got carjacked last month in Philadelphia, now we need to look at some issues. We need to talk about what's going on in these communities. And so I think when it impacts their home and it comes to their front door, then you'll see something happen.
I think that's a really important, interesting point, but it also it highlights the fact that they haven't had any solutions, nor have they cared to solve the problem before it impacted white or wealthier communities. What do you think, Donna?
Well, they like that kind of narrative for black communities. There's a lot of black leaders that like that narrative, that there's high crime, and so we need more government handouts. We need more government programs. They vilify the police officers that a lot of times in these cases are black.
That's right.
And they're being vilified. They're doing their jobs. They know these people. You know, when that incident happened in Baltimore, everybody in that chain of command was black. If these white officers did anything to this person, it was on the orders of that black sergeant. And, you know, it's really sad that it has to get to this place that now, you know, the fastest growing gun owners in America right now are African Americans.
Really? I didn't know that.
Fastest growing, because they're terrified that they're not getting any help and nobody's listening to them.
David Chappelle has made a joke about it. It's like, you better get your gun before they change the laws.
Yes.
Very interesting. Well, thank you guys so much for the discussion and for the panel today.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you.
Project 21 is putting the finishing touches on a new report, its blueprint for a better deal for Black America. This blueprint offers a fresh perspective for Black Americans on a range of issues affecting them. You can support Project 21 and their efforts to help Black Americans thrive by going to nationalcenter.org to donate or read up on their latest efforts. I'm Christina Bobb. Catch OAN Investigates every Saturday and Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for watching and stay informed.